She texted me at 11:47 at night. A woman named Darnell said her water heater just burst, flooded half her basement, ruined her washer, killed her hot water. Repair guy quoted her $1,800 minimum. She had $212 in her bank account and 3 days until rent was due. And at the bottom of her message, she wrote something that hit me hard. She said, "It's fine. I'll just put it on my card. That's what it's there for, right?" No, it is not. In this video, I'm going to show you the two-phase plan I used to go from a cop living on a budget to a seven-figure investor, starting with the exact dollar amount you need in your bank account tonight. And that one sentence, "That's what it's there for," is exactly how the credit card companies want you to think. Because the moment you believe your Visa card is your safety net, you have handed them your financial life on a silver platter. I'm Amelia. I spent over 2 decades as a police officer, responded to more crises than I can count, and somewhere in between the night shifts and the chaos, I built a seven-figure portfolio on a cop's salary. Not because I got lucky, because I stopped making the mistake I'm about to talk about. If you've ever reached for your credit card the moment something went sideways, water heater, car, ER visit, doesn't matter, leave a heart emoji in the comments right now. You're in the right place. Here's what's actually happening when you swipe that card for an emergency. The average credit card interest rate right now is hovering around 21, 22%. Some cards are sitting at 27, 28. So when Darnell puts that $1,800 repair on her card and makes minimum payments, she is not paying $1,800. She's paying somewhere closer to $2,400, $2,600, depending on how long it takes her to dig out. And that's if nothing else breaks. That's if she doesn't lose a shift at work. That's if the car keeps running. Life doesn't wait. According to a Bankrate survey, more than half of Americans said they couldn't cover a $1,000 emergency from savings. More than half. And what do you think they're doing instead? Credit cards, buy now, pay later apps, borrowing from family, taking out personal loans at brutal interest rates. And here's the trap nobody talks about. Once you put an emergency on a credit card, that card is now partially maxed out. So the next emergency, you've got less room. You're closer to the limit. Your credit utilization goes up. Your score takes a hit. And suddenly, the one tool you thought was protecting you is working against you. It compounds every time. And none of this is because people are bad with money or irresponsible. It's because nobody ever sat them down and said this clearly. A credit card is not a plan. It is a product. And the company that issued it makes money every single time you use it as your emergency fund. So let's fix it. And I'm going to give you this in 2 phases. Because trying to build a full emergency fund from zero in one shot is how people quit. Phase 1 is your $1,000 starter fund. That's the number. $1,000. Sitting in an account you don't touch unless something unexpected and necessary goes wrong. Why $1,000 specifically? Because the data shows it covers the majority of those gut punch emergencies, the car repairs, the urgent care visits, the appliance failures that send people spiraling into debt. It's not going to cover everything. A major surgery isn't $1,000, but it covers enough to keep you out of the debt cycle for most of what life throws at you. And here's the critical piece. You build this before you do anything else, before you aggressively pay down debt other than minimums, before you max out your 401k contributions, before you save for a vacation or a new car or anything else on your list. This $1,000 is first, because without it, every financial plan you build is sitting on sand, one unexpected expense, and the whole thing collapses. And you're back swiping that card at midnight, wondering what happened. The sprint matters. I don't want you to ease into this over 8 months. I want you to treat this like a fire drill. Sell something, cut something, pick up extra hours. A lot of people find their $1,000 in places they weren't even looking. Subscriptions they forgot about, stuff they haven't touched in 2 years, overtime they kept turning down. This doesn't have to be forever. It's a sprint, 6 to 10 weeks. If you attack it, get there. Phase 2 is where you build real protection, and this is where the number gets personal. 3 to 6 months of your actual living expenses, not income, expenses, rent, utilities, groceries, insurance, minimum debt payments, the things that keep your life from falling apart if your income stops tomorrow. Let me make that concrete. If your monthly expenses, the true essentials, run about $3,000 a month, you're building toward $9,000 to $18,000 in your emergency fund. That's the range. And how do you decide where in that range you land? Here's how I think about it. 3 months is your floor if you're single, your job is stable, and your industry isn't the type to do mass layoffs without warning. 6 months or closer to it if you're supporting a family, if you're self-employed, if your income fluctuates, or if you work for a publicly traded company that answers to quarterly earnings and can cut staff before you even hear the rumor. Big corporations are not loyal. One bad quarter, and suddenly there are restructuring initiatives. 6 months buys you time to breathe, interview well, and not take the first desperate offer you get. That's the goal. That's what this fund is actually for. Not just fixing the water heater. It's about never being trapped into a bad decision because you had no options. It's the difference between choosing your next job and grabbing whatever stops the bleeding. Where you keep this money matters. Not as much as building it, but it matters. Your emergency fund belongs in a high-yield savings account, not a checking account where it disappears into your daily spending, not a traditional savings account at one of the big national banks paying you 0.25% interest like it's 1987, and absolutely not in the stock market. I don't care what anyone tells you about making your money work. Emergency funds are not investment vehicles. They're insurance. High-yield savings accounts, the good ones, are sitting right now somewhere in the 4 to 5% APY range, depending on when you're watching this. Think about what that means practically. If you've got $10,000 saved, you're earning somewhere around $400 to $500 a year just sitting there. At a traditional big bank savings account, you'd earn maybe $10. Same money, completely different outcome. 3 reasons I'm firm on this. The money is FDIC insured up to $250,000, so it's protected if the bank goes sideways. It's liquid. You can access it in 24 to 48 hours without penalties. And it's separate from your checking account, which means you're not casually spending your emergency fund on Thai food and Amazon impulse buys. That separation isn't optional. It's the whole point. The wrong move, and I see this constantly, is keeping your emergency fund in your main checking account because it feels accessible. It's accessible, all right, too accessible. It becomes a slush fund. It evaporates. Open a separate account at an online bank. Set it up this week. Many of them have no minimums, no fees. It takes 15 minutes. Now let's get into the objections, because I know exactly what some of you are thinking right now. First one, I can't afford to save anything. I hear you. But run the math with me. If you can't save $50 a month, you cannot afford a $600 emergency, and one is coming. They always come. The question isn't whether you can afford to save, it's whether you can afford not to. Track your spending for 30 days, every dollar. I've had viewers come back to me shocked at what they found, subscriptions they forgot, eating out amounts that surprised them, impulse spending that felt small in the moment and added up to $300 a month. Find $20 a week. That's it to start. $20 a week gets you to $1,000 in about a year. Not fast enough? Find $50. That's 6 months. The money is usually there. It's just not organized. Second objection, I'll use the credit card and pay it off fast. No, stop. A credit card is borrowed money with interest attached. An emergency fund is your money owned outright. When you use your own savings, the emergency costs exactly what it costs. When you use a credit card, it costs that, plus whatever interest piles up while you're juggling rent and car payments and groceries. Most people don't pay it off fast. They intend to. Then another bill hits. Then another month goes by. Then you've been carrying that balance for 8 months and paid an extra $200, $300 in interest on an emergency that already hurt. That's not a solution. That's a slow bleed. Third objection, I should just invest that money instead. Returns beat savings rates. On paper, yes. Stock market returns historically outperform a high-yield savings account. But here's the part of that math people skip. If you invest your emergency fund and the market is down 20% when your transmission dies, you're either selling at a loss or going into debt. Either way, you lose. You can't time emergencies around market conditions, and while you're trying to earn 10% on your investment, you could be simultaneously paying 22% interest on a credit card debt you took out because you had no cash available. That math doesn't work. Build the emergency fund first, then invest aggressively. The order matters. Fourth objection, 6 months feels impossible. I'll never get there. Maybe it takes 2 years, maybe 3. That's fine. Progress is not a race against someone else's timeline. But 6 months from now, you could have $1,000 saved if you start this week. A year from now, maybe $3,000. 2 years, you could be sitting at $8,000, $10,000. Fully funded, protected, not one unexpected expense away from disaster. The number feels big because you're looking at the whole mountain. Stop. Look at the next step, the $1,000 starter fund. That's the only target right now. Here's exactly how to do this, step by step. Step 1, sprint to $1,000. Starting this week, not next month, not after the holidays. Sell something, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, whatever's collecting dust. Cut 1 or 2 subscriptions temporarily. Pick up extra hours, a side gig, a weekend job. Use your next tax refund if it's coming. The goal is to get to $1,000 as fast as humanly possible. This sprint is not your permanent lifestyle. It's a short-term push with a specific finish line. Step 2. Once you hit $1,000, pause the emergency fund and attack any high-interest debt above roughly 10 to 15%. Credit card balances, predatory personal loans, get those out of your life. Because you can't build wealth while you're hemorrhaging money in interest. Come back to the emergency fund when the high-interest debt is gone. Step 3. Build the full fund. Calculate your actual monthly expenses, the essentials only, and multiply by 3 to 6. That's your target. Then automate. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to your high-yield savings on payday. Every payday, even if it's $75, take the decision out of it entirely because willpower runs out and automation doesn't. Step 4. When you use it, and eventually you will, rebuild it immediately. Don't drain the fund, feel relieved, and then forget about it for a year. The fund only protects you if you maintain it. Make rebuilding it your next automatic priority the moment you make a withdrawal. Now let's be real clear about what counts as an emergency. and what doesn't. Emergency. Car breaks down and you need it to get to work. Not an emergency. Your car needs new tires you've known about for 4 months. Emergency. Unexpected medical bill. Not an emergency. Elective procedure you planned in advance. Emergency. Job loss. Not an emergency. Quitting a job without another one lined up because you're frustrated. Your emergency fund is for unexpected, necessary, urgent events only. The moment you start using it for things you could have anticipated or saved for separately, you're eroding your own safety net. And when the real thing hits, and it will, you'll be empty. Here's your assignment for this week. Pull up your bank app right now. Tonight, not tomorrow. Find out exactly what your monthly essential expenses are. Add them up. Multiply by 3. Write that number down. That's your phase 2 target. And if you don't have your $1,000 yet, that number doesn't matter yet. Go find $50 this week and start. Send this video to one person you know who's been swiping their credit card every time something goes wrong. Not to lecture them, just to show them there's another way. If this channel is helping you think differently about money, hit subscribe. I'm here every week with real tactics for real people. I'm Amelia. Go build the fund.